Hey guys, I hope everybody's doing well. Today's video, I've got three more actually Record Store Day acquisitions, all obviously after Record Store Day, and then some online finds after that, okay? So the first one, which I got after Record Store Day, was probably my biggest want on Record Store Day, and it's this album here. Robert Plant, Fate of Nations. This is the one that I had sort of at the top of my list, but actually wasn't expecting to find it on Record Store Day. I thought it would be a pretty highly sought item, and indeed I didn't find it on Record Store Day. I actually got this off of Amazon, which I was totally surprised. A couple weeks after Record Store Day itself. It was going for about $40, and I think that's a pretty, fair price for this. This is, in my opinion, one of Robert Plant's best solo albums. This is from 1993. It's definitely top three for sure of Robert Plant's solo albums for me. 1993. The well-known songs off of this is "Calling to You" and "29 Palms." There's also a great version. A great cover version. It's the only cover song on here. "If I Were a Carpenter," fantastic song. If you're a Zeppelin fan, I think this is one of Robert's more Zeppelin-y sounding albums, in the sense there's a lot of Eastern flavors on this, on quite a few songs, and his vocals sound, very reminiscent of the Zeppelin albums. So if you're a Zeppelin fan or a Robert Plant fan and you don't have this, I would highly recommend this. The other thing about this Record Store Day release is the cover is I don't know what it is about this texture here. It's just one of the softest record covers I've ever felt. I mean, that's not all that important, but it feels really nice upon touch, for sure. So highly recommend this. This is easily a 9 out of 10 for me. Really happy to get this Record Store Day release. Next, a couple of Record Store Day albums that I have are VCLT from Robert. Robert's channel name is, I hope I get this right, Robert NYC Guy Raised on Records. And I've seen a few videos that Hannah has shown where she's gotten a lot of VCLT from Robert. Very generous guy. And Robert reached out to me and asked me if I wanted a couple of records from Record Store Day that he picked up at his local store. So the first one was also very high on my list, is this one here. This is the Roxy Music remixed, and as you can see from the cover, it's the remixes of their first album. I had this early on my list several months ago as the one thing that I wanted at that time from Record Store Day, and I did see this at my record store, but it was going for $60, and I thought, wow, I don't know if I'm that big of a Roxy Music fan, so I passed on it. And then I saw Robert's Record Store Day finds video, and this was one of the ones that he showed, and I made a comment about it, and he very generously offered to send me a copy. And Robert, thank you so much. You didn't have to do that, but I totally appreciate that. The shipping between, for some of you who know, the shipping between US and Canada is a little ridiculous, but I'm totally blown away by this album. What this is, for you Roxy fans, is there's 7 tracks on here, double LP. I've listened to this several times since getting it a couple of days ago. There's 5 versions of the song Ladytron, and then 2 other tracks, 2HB and Chance Meeting. I love this. This is an 8.5 to 9 out of 10 for me. The 5 Ladytrons, you have to like Ladytron to like this. If you're sort of a Roxy first album purist kind of person, you may not like this because it really deconstructs the songs quite a bit. But all 5 versions, believe it or not, sound different from one another. A lot of this is instrumental with a few, vocals thrown in every now and then. So, but this is fantastic. This sets an amazing mood, and this is, I said the Robert Plant was my favorite Record Store Day release. This one is easily the best sounding press of any of the Record Store Day albums that I have. The pressing on this just sounds amazing. It just jumps out of the speakers, I find. So Robert, thank you very much again. Really, really stoked to have this one. And then the next record that Robert sent me is this Prince record. Let me get the name of this. This is His Majesty's Pop Life, the Purple Mix Club. So this is a 2 LP set. One record is 33 RPM, one record is 45 RPM of extended mixes of Prince tracks. I think they're all from the the 1999 Purple Rain and Around the World in a Day albums. And I only have 2 of those albums, but I don't have any of these mixes. And to get, the key for this one for me was to get Little Red Corvette and 1999, which I didn't have, and are 2 of my most favorite Prince songs. So I'm really, really happy to get this as well. Show you the inside there, a live picture of Prince and the Revolution with some dates as well along the bottom of, I guess it's the Purple Rain tour. So really, really pleased to have this. I have Purple Rain and Around the World in a Day, but 1999 was one that I couldn't find, and I really wanted to have songs from that. So really, really happy to have this. And again, Robert, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it, man. Okay, the next few are online purchases. So we'll start off with the Chameleons picture disc for their second album, What Does Anything Mean, Basically. I think I'm getting the title of that right. Just the songs on the back, which is the back cover of the album. I'm always leery, I've said this before, I'm always leery about picture discs. But this was going for about $30 on Amazon. I've had the CD of this for years. But this, again, another picture disc that I think sounds great. I got the Seeds Web of Sound album on picture disc recently. That sounded great. This sounds great. So if you see this and you like the Chameleons, this is a no-brainer. Again, the Chameleons, I compare them a lot to Echo and the Bunnymen. There's some similarities there, I think, in the guitar sound. Great UK band from back in the 80s. Next, we have the new album by the Dream Syndicate called These Times. This is a recent release, I think literally this came out May the 3rd. This is the reformed Dream Syndicate. There's the second album they've made after reforming. And this is fantastic. If you like that dueling guitar sound in sort of, indie, alternative, Paisley Underground, they've always been associated with that movement. This is amazing. Dueling guitars, similar to, I guess, maybe Luna or lesser so to the band Television, but just amazing build-ups on this. I recommend you go listen to YouTube, where I think this whole album is available there. I think a lot of you guys will dig this. The Dream Syndicate. This is bound to be in my top 5 albums at the end of this year. And continuing to pick up some reggae classics that are holes in my collection, we have Max Romeo, War in a Babylon. This is Max Romeo's album. I think this is 1977, produced by Lee Scratch Perry, with the Upsetters as the backing band. Killer album, especially side 1, War in a Babylon, Uptown Babies Don't Cry, One Step Forward. This is just an amazing reggae album, and definitely a hole that needed to fill in my collection. And we have Max Romeo and Lee Perry there on the back. And then a classic album that for years I didn't own in any format, and I'm really slow to this album, although I do really like this artist. Van Morrison, Astro Weeks. I've gotten some flack from some people before for not getting into this album sooner. I've always been more of a Moondance Van Morrison kind of guy, and I'm still trying to warm up to this album, but I finally decided to take the plunge and purchase a copy of this. I realize it's a classic. I do. I think I just need some more time with this album. So, happy to finally add this to the collection. And then some albums that I got off of Discogs, a seller on Discogs. It started off with this album, me looking for this because I never had a copy of this, the Rolling Stones Aftermath. This is the album with, of course, Painted Black. What else is on this thing? I guess the other known song off of this is Stupid Girl, Lady Jane, Under My Thumb, of course. I was looking for a copy of this, and the seller had it for a pretty decent price, so I decided to jump on it. And then I noticed that the seller had a bunch of jazz records that I was really interested in. So it started off with this, and then to make the shipping worthwhile, I added 4 jazz records. So happy to finally get this Rolling Stones album. I just love the cover on those Rolling Stones albums. Something about the band shots that I really dig. So the first of the 4 albums, an album that I've owned on CD for many years, my favorite jazz artist of all time, Miles Davis, Sketches of Spain. This is a classic. This, of course, is with the Gil Evans Orchestra. So happy to finally get this album. One of Miles', I think, better known albums. He's got so many, but I would definitely put this sort of up there for sure. So Sketches of Spain, and then this album that I'd never heard of before, from Charles Mingus. This is called Jazz Composers Workshop. This is Mingus, I guess it's mid-50s material, recorded in the mid-50s. I have Mingus Aham, which is probably his most widely known album. I've got a few other of his on CD, Blues and Roots, Black Saint and the, it's called Black Saint and the Sinner, something. A few other Mingus on CD. So I saw this for a decent price, didn't have any of these tracks, listened to a couple of tracks on YouTube and thought, yeah, this I definitely dig this Mingus, these songs. And then we have Hugh Masekela. This is called The Promise of a Future, Hugh Masekela. I have one other Hugh Masekela album which I love from the 60s. This is the follow-up to that album. That album's called just simply Masekela. This is the follow-up to that. This has a few cover songs. Ain't No Mountain High Enough. That's just instrumental. And No Face, No Name, No Number, which is a cover of the Traffic song. 2 excellent covers. His horn playing is just fantastic on this. There's a few of his vocals on this, which are okay. Nothing to write home about, but definitely happy to add another Hugh Masekela because I love that other one that I've got. That one is like close to I would say a 9 out of 10. This is probably more like a 7.5, 8 out of 10. So really happy to add this. And then finally, Chico Hamilton, The Gamut. Chico Hamilton is a jazz drummer. I don't own any other Chico Hamilton in my collection. I've always wanted to own something by him. There's definitely some Latin roots in this album here. And again, I saw this along with the other jazz records. It was going for a decent price. The cover's got a little bit of wear on it, but that's okay. The vinyl plays nice. So I mean, if I see more Chico Hamilton, I just don't see it out there, I will definitely pick up some more. So great jazz drummer and composer. Okay, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Again, a big thank you to Robert for the VCLT, and I'll see you guys next time.